A little girl once asked her dad, if you had to choose between being on your phone or talking to me, which would you pick? The dad laughed and said, of course, I'd pick you. The little girl smiled and said, good. Can we try that today? That hits close to home, doesn't it? Especially if you replace the dad with a granddad, and a daughter with a granddaughter, or your spouse, or your friend, or anyone you meet. We do live in a world that's always in a rush. There's always something demanding our time. Emails to answer, errands to run, updates to check, people to impress. We're constantly busy, constantly distracted, even those who are retired, interestingly. And sometimes we forget what really matters. What is the one thing that really matters in life? Today's gospel story about Martha and Mary is a gentle reminder from Jesus to slow down, even stop, and focus on the most important thing in our life. Martha was doing everything right, cooking, cleaning, being a good host. She was probably sweating over the stove thinking, why isn't Mary helping me? And who can blame her? She was doing her best to serve Jesus, the honored guest. But when she complains, Jesus doesn't scold her. He just says gently, Martha, Martha, you're worried about many things, and you're distracted by many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary, on the other hand, simply sat at Jesus' feet and listened, which in those times, you should know the context, that was only the privilege of male disciples. Now, Jesus isn't saying work is bad. He's not saying you should stop cooking dinner or let the dishes pile up. What he is saying is that our hearts need to rest too. That sometimes the best thing we can do is to stop, to be still, and really listen. Listen to God, listen to each other, or listen even to our souls. And to our bodies too. You know, Jesus never actually tells us what the one thing is that we need. Why? Maybe because it's different for each of us, depending on the moment and the context too. For Martha, the one thing needed was to stop and be present to the guest. For you, it might be to rest, take a break, or to forgive someone, or to listen more carefully to your children or grandchildren, your partner, your spouse, your friend. But we never figure it out if we're always rushing, running from one place to another, from one thing to another. We have to slow down, be quiet, and really pay attention. And that's where the wisdom comes. In the letter to the Colossians, Paul shares something truly amazing. He says that Christ is in everything. In all creation, in all people too. And even more shockingly, he says, Christ is in you. You can go back and double check me if you don't believe me. Last line on the reading. Christ in you. That's the mystery that has been revealed to us. That's not just poetic language, although it sounds like it. No, that's the heart of our Christian faith. Unfortunately, throughout the ages, we have not emphasized that enough. That Christ is in us. Christ, that is the second person of the Trinity, wants to dwell in us. There's a story told by an English woman named Carol Houselander. She was riding the subway one day in London, surrounded by strangers, tired workers, grumpy commuters. Suddenly, something happened. She looked around and saw Christ in all of them. Every single one. Not because they were holy or perfect, but simply because Christ was alive in them, just as Christ is alive in you, in all of us. She said, that is Carol Houselander said, the vision faded after a few days, but she never forgot it. And she learned that even when we can't see Christ clearly in others or in ourselves, He's still there, always. We just have to trust and keep looking. Slow down, stop, pay attention, and keep looking. So here's an invitation today. Let us be a little more like Mary. Take a breath. Put the phone down, turn off the noise, and listen. Listen to the people in your life and to the still small voice of God within and without, in nature and in your life. And let's remember what Paul said. Christ is in you. You might not believe that yet. Just listen to it. Remember it. Christ is in you. Not because you're flawless, far from it, but because God has chosen to live and work through you and me and each one of us. Through your kindness, your honesty, your efforts to love well, even when it's hard, God is choosing to work through us. Sometimes even in spite of us, especially if we're not obeying God's will. So this week we may try this. Every time we feel ourselves getting overwhelmed or pulled in a million directions, the moment we realize that, just pause and ask, what really matters right now in the midst of this distraction, fears, worries? What really matters right now? And then listen for a few seconds, minutes. Then listen. Let the Spirit guide you to that one thing Jesus spoke about. Whether you're being a Martha or a Mary, Jesus welcomes you. But He also gently invites you to be fully present and to trust that you are not alone, ever, because Christ is with you. Christ is in you. And Christ is waiting to be seen in the person sitting next to you, in the stranger on the street, even in the grumpy guy at the checkout line. Let's open our eyes, our spiritual eyes, that is. Let's listen with our hearts, and let's choose what matters most. Amen.